Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our 3-game match review. So another big 3 games here in today's 3-game match reviews. Today, the Saturday later games, Saturday twilight, and the 2 Saturday night games. Again, we learnt so much from these games, as we always do. And of course, blockbuster dream time at the G. Personally, the 2 best Indigenous Guernseys went head-to-head. And a massive game over at the Adelaide Oval between Crows and the Saints. So, North Melbourne vs Melbourne, Richmond VS Essendon, and Adelaide vs St Kilda are the games we're going to be going over today. North Melbourne vs Melbourne is first. So, North Melbourne 8-5-53 get defeated by Melbourne 14-16-100. But North Melbourne actually put up a fight in this game. So if you have a little look, they did actually lead for a little period there and back again in there. So they were extremely competitive and they were right in the game in the middle of the third quarter as well. So North never gave up. The Demons, of course, though, their class, their skill, they were the better team. However, but North Melbourne really did compete, and I don't know who this one was, whether it was North Melbourne getting better or Melbourne not being able to smash teams, but North were okay. They were actually okay every quarter until the last, where it just got out of hand. But North Melbourne played 3 quarters of decent football to really hold in there, and if they had have done a last quarter, they actually could have came and won it. Now, yes, 53 may not be the greatest score, but this is big for the Kangaroos. Yes, they didn't win, but they competed with the 3 quarters, so they did end up getting smashed, but I don't know, they competed a little bit in this game. Clayton Oliver, 45 disposals, that's a massive number. And 151 fantasy, 7 tackles for Hugh Greenwood, 3 goals for Tom McDonald. So the Demons, they're all class, and they are the hardest team to beat in the competition. But North Melbourne, their first 3 quarters of, well, first 2.5 quarters of footy were amazing. They managed to keep up with the pace, and Melbourne just too good, too strong, as they always are. They go 10-0. AFL Fantasy, 151 for Oliver, 115 for Petrarca, 111 for Scott, 110 for Core, 107 for McDonald, 103 for Davies-Uniacke, 87 for Turner and Young, 85 for Simpkin, 83 for Anderson. Those names I just read out were North. Look at that. From Scott all the way down to Anderson, those were some, like, look at all those North Melbourne players. They actually really did give it a red-hot crack in this one as well. Now we'll go up to the goals. Tommy McDonald and Bailey Fritsch and Cam Zerha getting 3 goals each, while Pickett gets 2. Disposals now, Oliver 45, led by a long way. McDonald got 31, Petrarca 30, Core 29, Scott 27, along with Davies-Uniacke 27, and Dunstan and Jordan 22. And they nullified the impact of Simpkin only managing to let him get 21. So that's massive. And obviously, Oliver and Petrarca were having breakouts like they normally do. Wow, look at all those marks. Look at all those North Melbourne players taking marks. Core 13, 12 for Scott, 10 for Young, 7 for Turner, Davies-Uniacke, 6 for Zeeble, Taylor, Walker, Simpkin, 5 for Power, and Anderson. That is amazing, but what I did see is that Melbourne were happy to let them take marks. They just can set up behind the ball even better. Tackles, 7 for Hugh Greenwood, 6 for Davies-Uniacke, and Pickett, Sparrow, and Oliver. But they actually really tried for some of the part in this game. They only went inside 50 34 times of the Kangaroos, so that did let them down a little bit though. However, hit-outs was in favour of North Melbourne. I actually forgot to check out the hit-outs, so yeah, never mind. Clearances were heavily in favour of the Demons though. And then, wow, look at marks, 111 to 66. That is an interesting stat as well. Melbourne were in front for most of the game, and didn't really have too much trouble when it came to pretty much 3/4 time. They were in the driver's seat, had I think just around a 20-point advantage or something around that, and then they just, burst out and exploded in the final term. Melbourne beating the Kangaroos by 47. Now over to dream time at the G we go. Richmond 11-14-80 overcome the Bombers 7-6-48. The Bombers, they're having troubles right now. Against the Tigers, who have been so good at the MCG in the past few weeks. I think they've played there. This would be their 3rd straight game there in a row, with one of them being away games against Hawthorn, and then the other 2 home versus Collingwood and Essendon. So the Tigers have known how to score heavy, and if they were a little bit more accurate, they could have piled on way more pain than what they did, but they were just a better team, and the Bombers did go quite physical, which, like, they went and, as you can see there, started stuff like that. But, yeah, it just didn't help them at all. In fact, it probably made them worse. And they had a little bit of a lead there. And other than that, the second quarter is where the Tigers exploded out of the cage to really have a real jump skip on the Bombers, which I think would be 26 points, the lead they held at half-time. Three-quarter time was similarly the same, and full-time was actually also similarly the same. But again, the Tigers by 32, way too good. I feel like most of us saw this one coming anyway. It wasn't a great dream time at the G. Of course, the opening ceremony, though, was fantastic, but the actual game of footy was not that great. The Tigers had a pretty comfortable lead for the whole game, and they could definitely be, I would say, definitely making the top 8. Darcy Parish, a mammoth outing with 43 disposals, 4 goals for Revolt, 146 fantasy for Parish, along with 8 tackles as well. But yeah, the Tigers, I reckon top 8 should definitely be for them this year if they can keep going the way they are. 146 fantasy for Parish, 133 for Redmond, 113 for Short, 111 for Baker, 109 for Prestia, and Heppel. So there we go. Goals behind. 4 goals for Revolt, best on ground goals-wise by a long way. 2 goals for Bolton and Morris Rioli. Of course, Sir Doug Nichols round, and then 2 goals for Ben Hobbs as well. And then plenty of players also chipping in with the 1 goal. Now, 43 disposed for Parish, 36 for Prestia, 33 for Merritt, 30 for Baker, and then 29 for Short and Redmond, 26 for Daniel Rioli. Now we'll go to marks. 10 for Revolt up forward. He does it. 10 for Redmond as well, 9 for Short, 8 for Tarrant and Heppel, and now to tackles, 8 for Parish, 7 for Shields. Actually laying a bit more tackles this time are the Bombers. 20 hit-outs for Nankervis, 16 for Ivan Soldo, 14 for Draper, 6 for Brian as well. Dusty, he got the 2 behinds and 17 touches, so not his best game. The Tigers and the Bombers went inside 50 around a similar amount of times. The Tigers, though, going inside 8 times more than the Bombers. Clearances were actually in favour of the Bombers, which is a little bit crazy. Let's see, marks. Tigers took 100 marks. Tigers took way more marks inside 50, way more contested marks as well. Time in front, they led pretty much the whole game and nothing else. So there we have it. The Tigers win Dreamtime at the G by a pretty big margin of 32 points to continue their brilliant season. That's 4 on the trot now, and 4 brilliant wins on the trot, smashing the Eagles, beating the Pies comfortably, beating the Hawks comfortably, and now beating the Bombers comfortably. This is a good season. Now, yes, their last 4 weeks may not be against the best opponents, but they get the job done by a fair way as well, which is really looking good for the Tigers, and they've got a spot in the top 8 right now. Now, to the Adelaide Oval we go. Adelaide 9-15-69, get defeated by St Kilda 14-6-90. Saints by 21, but I feel like it was definitely inaccuracy that did it for the Adelaide Crows. 9-15 just will not win you a game of football. If that was 15-9, that's 99. So they could have and should have, I reckon, won this game. And Max King for the Saints was the turning point, the difference point in this game with 6 goals of his own. He was electric. Sinclair, 32 disposals, 111 fantasy for Sinclair, 9 tackles for Berry. But look, the Crows actually led majority of his game. It was a really scrappy, interesting contest. The Saints were the better, though. 6 goals for Max King does just sum up what the Crows were doing quite wrong. They went with one tall defender in Nick Murray, which really didn't work, and he had to play on King the whole night, having really no support. Dawson, he was pretty decent as well, I reckon. But yeah, Key's always working his best. But yeah, it wasn't great for the Adelaide Crows. Strawn did compete in the ruck as well. But if you see here, the Crows actually had most of the second quarter in there, and they were leading by 11 at half-time, which was actually one of the game-high leads, apart from the last to the Saints. Other than that, I think that was a game-high lead of 11 at half-time. The Saints brought it back in the third quarter, but every time the Saints got something, the Crows had an answer. You can see three-quarter time, 6-4 to 6-13. That is definitely what cost the Crows, I reckon. And then in the last quarter, it was all Saints. But you see that the Crows put up a very good effort against this top 4 kind of team, like a team really competing for the top 4. And probably, if not top 4, I'd be saying top 6 for the Saints, which means you'll get a home elimination final if you finish 5 or 6, or top 4 double chance. But yeah, the Crows, the effort is definitely what counted. They would have loved to have taken out the win. Unfortunately enough, they didn't, but the effort was there, and that was nice to see. 111 fantasy for Dawson, Hill in his 200th game, and Sinclair. 108 fantasy for Smith, 107 for Crouch against his former team, 97 for Laird, 92 for Straw, 91 for Haitley, 88 for Keys, 86 for Berry, and then of course you can't forget these two men, Jade Gresham and Callum Wilkie, both getting 82. Soligo kicks his first goal in AFL footy for the Adelaide Crows. Dawson is productive with 2 goals, but it was Max King the one leading the way with 6 goals. He was electric, and he was the point of difference in this game. When everyone else was missing, whether it be from the Saints or the Crows, he had his kicking boots on and kicked 6 goals, 0, and was definitely the turning point in this game for the Saints. Without that, they definitely would have lost. 2 goals for Membry. He was also pretty good up forward. Dawson and McAdam get 2 goals as well, and then 1 goal, 2 for Walker and Thilthorpe. But Thilthorpe was actually okay. 1 goal, 1 for Rose, Soligo, Rochelle, Marshall, and then 1 goal straight for Ryder, Crouch, Hill, Wood, Sharman. And now we're going to have a look. Already had a look at AFL Fantasy Disposals. 32 for Sinclair, 31 for Crouch, 30 for Hill, 28 for Smith, 27 for Keys and Gresham. Now we'll go marks. We'll have a look at the marks. 11 for Smith, 10 for Dawson and Hill, and then 7 for Wilkie and Howard. Tackles, 9 for Berry, 8 for Laird and Haitley. And we'll go to the hit outs. 24 for Marshall, 21 for Ryder, 19 for Straw and 3 for Thilthorpe. It was the Ryder-Marshall duo that always get the job done for the Saints. They are, that's probably one of the best duos in the competition. Jackson, Gawn as well, fantastic as well. So let's have a look. Free kicks was actually in favour of the Adelaide Crows. They were getting a lot more than the Saints were. Hit outs in the Saints' favour. The clearances were actually in favour of the Crows. Stoppage clearances went in the Crows' favour, but centre clearances was St Kilda. And nothing else looking that great. The Crows actually led majority of this contest, and I'd probably have to say unlucky not to win, but they were really, the effort was good, the effort was there, they put in the effort, and they do play better at home. They've got the Cats next week for the Crows, so I don't think that's really going to help, but bring this sort of intensity and the pressure, and you got the Eagles at home in round 12, so there could be a very well-needed win for them, but the Saints get the job done by 21 in and a bit of a thriller until the last quarter. So that's what we've had for this round. Carlton got over the Swans by 15. The Dogs got over the Suns by 19. The Cats got over the Power by 35. Restricting the Power to only 47. The Roos lose to the Demons by 47. The Saints get over the Crows by 21. And the Tigers beat the Dons by 32. Today, massive games of footy coming up. So I'd be looking at this one, Fremantle versus Collingwood. That's what I'd be really looking at for today. I'd be looking at that one really closely. Can't wait to see the result. Collingwood, they need to win this game badly if their season can come back on track. And Freo, they want to lock away a spot in the 4 after a disappointing last week to Gold Coast. GWS versus West Coast. GWS have been forced into mass changes, so the door does slightly open for West Coast, I'd feel. And Hawthorn, their record at UTAS isn't too bad. They did beat the Lions down there last year, so do they have the same capability of doing that this year? Or will the Lions, just brilliant team, be too strong? 11. This is what round 11 holds for us. I'm not going to go over it really quickly now, but yeah, that's what round 11 holds for us. Some massive games in there as well. And then, of course, mid-season draft after round 11, and then round 12, we start hopping into buys. Ladder. Melbourne go 10-0. They've got Freo next round. Can Freo pull off an upset next round and beat the Demons? They need to lose sometime. So who's going to be the first team to beat the Demons? Going to be interesting to see. Brisbane, Carlton, Freo are in the top 4, but Freo, of course, need to win today. Otherwise, the rest of the competition, the rest of the top 8 can actually really start coming to them. Richmond, as you see, looking pretty. The Swans are down into 7th now, so that's massive for them. They need to get some wins on the board. The Western Bulldogs sit on 20 points, the only team to do so. But if the Pies were to win today, they will go up onto 20 points with the Western Bulldogs as well. Hawthorn, massive result coming up for them today if they're any chance of sticking with the top 8 as well. GWS, it may be too late, but they need to just try and get some sort of season rolling and not finish bottom 4. And North Melbourne and West Coast sitting lowly 17th and 18th. So that is how the ladder is looking. And and of course the rest of the round. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone, Flaming Footy out.